It's no surprise that drones are a headache for militaries worldwide. We knew that at least as far back as 1956. Welcome to American Esoterica. If history class gives you the spaghetti, this is the meatballs, the essential stuff in between, the personalities, events, and other ephemera that shape our history and culture. I'm Brian Powers. If you're gonna have a bad day, it might as well be bad enough to later on be an amusing story, such as this one, in which both the Navy and the Air Force have an extraordinarily and comedically bad day. But to make it even more amusing, we've got to get into the weeds a little on weapon systems. So strap in and hang on as we lead up to the Battle of Palmdale. The F-89 Scorpion was the very first jet-powered interceptor aircraft to enter American service. In post-World War II skies, jet-powered aircraft fulfilled different roles. We tend to lump them all together as fighter jets, but different classes of these jets did different things. Interceptor aircraft did what, they sound like they were meant to do. They were designed to be as fast as possible to intercept incoming threats, such as bombers or missiles. They weren't as agile as fighters, which were designed for dogfighting and air superiority. Interceptors needed to get to the threat fast and eliminate it, and its presumed targets were never really expected to be as maneuverable. By 1956, the F-89 had taken on the form of the D variant, which would be its most produced model. This new variant had one specific, let's say, improvement over its predecessors. 6 20mm cannons were replaced by the most advanced air-to-air weapon system then available, the Mark IV FFAR, or Folding Fin Aerial Rocket System, otherwise known as Mighty Mouse. In World War II, what had become clear was that it was hard to take down something as big as a bomber with machine guns alone. Interceptors needed something more powerful, and the FFAR system was the next new thing. These were basically just a bunch of unguided rockets, like launching a bottle rocket. Each one was capable of downing an entire bomber in one shot, which was great if not for one fatal flaw. Unguided rockets had to be aimed very precisely, and even then, they weren't particularly accurate. Still, they were the best available weapon, and the F-89D made up for the inaccuracy by loading up on them. A lot of them. 104 per aircraft, just itching to be let loose. In August of 1956, the Navy was set to test its own air-to-air missile, the AIM-7, a missile that is still in use today. The morning of August 16th, the Navy launched a bright red radio-controlled Grumman F-6 Hellcat, a propeller-driven fighter left over from World War II. The unmanned aircraft was supposed to take off from Point Mugu Naval Air Station and fly out over the Pacific, where the drone would be shot down by the new missiles. Not long after takeoff, it was obvious that something had gone horribly wrong. The drone Hellcat wouldn't respond to controls. Even worse, instead of just lazily drifting out over the ocean, the plane was now in a slow left turn pattern that put it on course to crash into the biggest target around, the city of Los Angeles. So the Navy was having a really bad day, and it went from merely bad to hilariously so when they realized what they had to do, which was to call the Air Force to bail them out. Oxnard Air Force Base got the call, and when they stopped laughing, they responded by scrambling to F-89D Scorpions, the new pride of the Air Force. The Air Force would now get to show the Navy what it could do. That bright red drone was a sitting duck up against 2 fast jets armed to the teeth with hundreds of rockets. The jets caught up to the drone at 30,000 feet above Los Angeles, and as soon as it was clear of the city, the pilots were free to let loose. The first problem came with a failure in the automatic firing system. This system was responsible for aiming the rockets so that the pilots didn't have to. But no matter, they could switch over and fire them manually. But there was one other problem. When the guns were removed, so were the gun sights. So the pilots didn't have precise ways to aim. They weren't supposed to have to. The new weapon systems were supposed to handle that for them. By this time, the drone had veered back in the direction of Los Angeles, so the situation was suddenly more dire. The pilots drew on every bit of luck they could conjure and began to fire. The first plane fired a volley of 42 rockets. Every single one missed. The second plane followed suit with 42 of its own. Again, all missed. The drone approached a smaller town called Newhall, so the pilots tried another round of rockets each before it reached a populated area. Not a hit in the bunch. As the plane neared the city of Palmdale, the pilots got increasingly desperate, and they let loose their final store of rockets, the remaining 30. But the drone flew on unaffected. 208 rockets were fired from the planes that day. Not a single one hit the drone, which ran out of fuel and finally crashed on some vacant land 8 miles east of Palmdale. Though not a single rocket hit the drone, it doesn't mean the rockets didn't hit anything. They left a trail of hellish destruction across Southern California. They launched a 100-acre brush fire near Placerita Canyon, a 150-acre brush fire near Bouquet Canyon, and a 350-acre wildfire in Soledad Canyon. It took the combined efforts of over 500 firefighters to put out all the fires started by the errant rockets. One rocket hit some oil wells, which caused a whole different set of problems. In downtown Palmdale, the rockets that were fired to prevent the drone from crashing into the city rained down on the population like hail, crashing into homes and generally causing chaos. One rocket bounced around a house before coming to rest in the kitchen. Another exploded in the road right in front of a terrified 17-year-old driving his mom around. Luckily, despite the widespread damage, nobody was killed or badly injured. Most of the rockets disarmed as a fail-safe feature when they missed their targets, so the Air Force went on a scavenger hunt to make sure all the rockets were accounted for. They found unexploded rockets all over the place, such as sticking up out of the fields like they were a cash crop. All in all, the Battle of Palmdale, as it's cheekily referred to, is still, technically, kind of a win. 2 interceptors were sent up to make sure that an errant drone didn't cause any civilian deaths. And that's exactly what happened. This has been American Esoterica. All sounds were made by me, Brian Powers. Did I get it wrong? Did I get it right? Just want to talk about how much fun it is to fly a drone? Drop me a note. The address is yale@americanesoterica.com. More information on the show can be found at americanesoterica.com. Thank you for listening, and God bless America.